welcome. Tonight, protests erupt in Kano over release of certified true copy of court judgment as Court of Appeal clears the air on controversy surrounding the judgment. FCT High Court grants former Central Bank Governor Emefiele bail in the sum of 300 million Naira with two sureties in like sum. And President Bola Tinubu assures German businesses of providing an enabling environment for their investments in Nigeria.
On business news tonight, Zenith joins House of Representatives to pass the two-year medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper ahead of the 2024 budget presentation by the President.
On sports news tonight, Lionel Scaloni hints at Argentina departure after leading the team to a victory over Brazil in the 2026 World Cup qualifier at the Maracana Stadium.
And from Abuja, House of Representatives raises alarm of a revenue shortage from payment platform Remita, through which the federal government's Treasury single account is operated.
And in international news from London, Hamas says the four-day pause in fighting in Gaza will begin at 10 a.m. on Thursday.
We begin from Kano, where protests erupted this evening along the Dan Agundi area after the emergence of the certified true copy of the judgment of the appeal court, which sacked Governor Abba Yusuf. The police were, however, able to disperse the protesters, although some of them have vowed to remain on the streets. The protests are coming after an earlier directive by the State Police Command against any gathering over the appeal court judgment.
It's been 5 days since the appeal court delivered its judgment that sacked Abba Yusuf as the Kano state governor. Protests erupted in Dan Agundi area after the certified true copy of the judgment emerged with what some have described as contradictions. The stones-bearing, tire-burning protesters clashed with police personnel who used tear gas to disperse them.
This morning, the concerned citizens of Kano arranged a peaceful prayer session in the Mahaha field. Unfortunately, after the peaceful session, the Nigerian police come and open fire on us. This is open day robbery. The Kano mandate has been stolen by the APC. The APC are trying to turn the Nigerian political system into one-party system. This will never be accepted, and we are calling on the masses to start bringing us food, water, and other supplies. We will not leave this place. We are going to die here.
All of this is in spite of an earlier stern warning issued by the police against anyone planning or taking part in protests.
Government House is #1 beat in the state, and combined security officials in the state will never sit down and see anybody going to vandalize any property. So anybody who finds himself to loot or to destroy or to attack people will definitely find it very difficult with us. And equally, Kano State is a place where people from different backgrounds, both Nigerian and non-Nigerians, are enjoying their lives and going about their businesses. We are aware that these people are planning to start looting shops and sending fear to people. Close the market, close the bank, close the schools. That we will never allow it.
Some level of calm has been restored to Kano metropolis, but the tension in Kano following the controversial court's judgment calls for an urgent action for enduring peace.
While the National Working Committee of the New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, is asking the National Judicial Council to investigate the discrepancy in the certified true copy of the appeal court judgment and the judgment delivered in the courtroom by a three-man panel of justices in the Kano governorship election dispute. National Secretary of the NNPP told journalists at a news conference in Abuja that the certified true copy of the judgment shows that the judgment is in favor of their candidate, Governor Abba Yusuf.
At page 67 of the extant judgment, in its conclusive findings, held inter alia, 1. This is the submission of the justice who read the judgment. In the circumstances, I resolve all the issues in favor of the appellant, and who is the appellant in this case? Engineer Yusuf Abakabru. And the judgment went further, that the judgment of the tribunal delivered on the 28th day of September 2023 is hereby set aside. That is the Court of Appeal in their conclusive finding. The judgment went further. The sum of 1 million naira only is hereby awarded at costs in favor of the appellant. And who is the appellant in this case? Our Governor, Engineer Abba Kabir Yusuf, and against the first respondent, which is APC. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, this is the complex situation we are as a political party. If at the point of delivering the judgment, there was a pronouncement that our appeal failed, but the CTC of the same judgment, in its conclusive findings, actually resolved all the issues in our favor, and even awarded costs in our favor against the APC, this definitely is a riddle. We are an interested party. We own the platform on which Engineer Abba Kabir Yusuf ran for the election and was declared the winner. We are therefore calling on the National Judicial Council, NJC, to without delay commence investigation to unravel what happened in this matter.
Well, in a swift reaction, however, the Chief Registrar of the Court of Appeal, Mr. Umar Bangari, reacting to the controversy surrounding the judgment delivered by the court on the Kano governorship election dispute, says that what happened in the judgment body was a typo error that did not in any way invalidate or change the findings and conclusion of the court. The Chief Registrar assures that the error would be rectified once parties in the matter file a formal application to that effect. He cited Order 23, Rule 4 of the Court of Appeal Handbook, which empowers the court to correct any clerical error once detected by the court or any of the parties in the matter. He insists that, contrary to insinuations, the judgment of the court remains valid. In the meantime, the All Progressives Congress has been reacting to the discrepancies of the certified true copy of the Court of Appeal judgment on the Kano governorship election, claiming errors may have been made while typing the draft. The National Legal Advisor of the APC, Professor Abdul Karim Kano, who was speaking on our political program, Politics Today, explains that what is contained in the judgment of the Justices of the Appeal Court was read in court, and it's in favor of the All Progressives Congress.
There are two issues here. Number one, this is not what was read in the open court as the judgment of the court. And number two, look at the paragraphs as they follow each other. Clearly contradictory. A somersault. The first paragraph, dismissing the appeal for lacking merit. The second paragraph, saying affirming the appeal. I mean, from that, you know that certainly something must have gone wrong somewhere. But as a witness to what exactly is authentic, what exactly may have been contained in the original draft, see the concurring judgments of the two justices that followed in the same judgment. My Lord Honorable Justice Beatrice Sanga dismissing the appeal after reading the draft copy of the leading judgment. My Lord Honorable Justice Lateef Ganiu also dismissing the appeal, stating that after reading the draft copy of the appeal, most certainly between the time when the draft was now typed and certified, some errors may have been made. But the judgment of the court most certainly is what was read in court. And the explaining as to what may have happened would certainly come from the person who certified the judgment.
Well, also speaking on our political program, Politics Today, as the former chairman of the National Human Rights Commission, Professor Chidi Odinkalu, who also seemed to agree with the APC legal advisor on the errors identified in the judgment. Well, Professor Odinkalu explains that it is odd to know that what the judge says is in court is not what is on record.
you see, there is a doctrine in law, actually, that applies to clerical errors in judgments. It's called the slip rule. Okay? So, for instance, if you want to write Wi-Fi and you write wife, that can be corrected. That's a clerical error. That you can, so you can, with consent of the parties, of course, having notified them, revert Wi-Fi, wife to Wi-Fi. All right? But you cannot, with consent of anyone, say that having awarded costs to me, you will cancel that and then award costs to the other party. Or having set aside the judgment of the lower court on record, you then come back and say that is an error. I would actually uphold the judgment of the lower court, because those are dispositive. Those are the dispositions of the court. Once you do that, that's final. The only way you can reopen that matter is upstairs, if there is still an opportunity, or a review, if you're before the final court. That is not a clerical error. That was the old law that I was taught.
Well, we're still staying in the courts. The New Nigeria People's Party, NNPP, has filed its notice of appeal before the Supreme Court to challenge the November 17 judgment of the Court of Appeal, which upheld the decision of the Election Petition Tribunal sacking Governor Abba Yusuf and declared Dr. Nasir Gawuna of the All Progressives Congress as a duly elected governor of Kano State. In the notice dated November 22nd and filed by a senior advocate of Nigeria, Boyega Awomolo, leading 7 other senior advocates and 10 other lawyers, the NNPP listed 10 grounds for challenging the appeal. The party challenged the entire judgment of the Court of Appeal except the final conclusion and orders at page 67 of the duly certified true copy, including the order as to costs favourable to the appellant. Listed as respondents in the notice of appeal are Governor Abba Yusuf, the APC, and the Independent National Electoral Commission. Well, we're staying with the courts, but to other issues now. Justice Hamza Muazu of the Federal Capital Territory High Court, Abuja, has granted the immediate past governor of the central bank, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, bail in the sum of 300 million naira and 2 sureties in like sum. In a ruling, Justice Muazu held that Mr. Emefiele should produce 2 sureties who must have landed properties in the Maitama district of the FCT. Mr. Emefiele is also required to deposit all his travel documents with the registrar of the court and must remain within the Abuja Municipal Council. Our judiciary correspondent, Emefiele, has more.
The FCT High Court is abuzz again as Justice Hamza Muazu hands down the ruling on the bail application of the former governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele. Mr. Emefiele is not in court following the order that he should be remanded in the Kuje Correctional Facility pending the determination of his bail application. In his ruling, Justice Muazu explains that he did not see the national security implication in the amended charge sheet, adding that there was no reason to deny Mr. Emefiele bail, as the charges before the courts were not capital offences. Justice Muazu further states that the former Apex Bank chief had the opportunity to leave the country and become a fugitive, but he turned himself in. He concludes by saying that there is nothing to show that Mr. Emefiele will abscond and not face trial. He therefore granted bail in the sum of 300 million naira and 2 sureties in like sum, who must have landed property in the Maitama district of the FCT and must remain within the Abuja Municipal Council.
Short and the long of it is that we have a duty now to ensure that we perfect those conditions and ensure his release so that he can be in court to answer to the charges that have been preferred against him by the state. And if they have witnesses, well, they'll bring their witnesses and will test the potency of the evidence that they have.
What is paramount to us is the defendant presenting himself to stand trial. So, we believe and we hope that this condition that my Lord has imposed will secure his attendance for the purpose of expeditious determination of the case. You know, as we have always been doing, there won't be delay from our side. Our witnesses are ready, and we are ready to proceed. My Lord has given us 28. We have given my Lord undertaking that in respect of the charge before the court, the issue of the arrest of the defendant will not happen. But we are not saying that if there are cases or other issues being investigated, these agencies shadow with such responsibility constitutionally will be prevented because of the pendency of this charge.
He's expected to remain in the Kuje Correctional Center pending when he meets the bail conditions. The trial is expected to commence on November 28th. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
In part two, after the break, President Bola Tinubu is back in the country after attending the G20 Compact with Africa conference hosted by German Chancellor Olaf Scholz. That's in a moment. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, coming to you live on Channels Television. A reminder of our top stories. Protests erupt in Kano over release of certified true copy of court judgment as Court of Appeal clears air on controversies surrounding the judgment. FCT High Court grants former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele bail in the sum of 300 million naira with two sureties in like sum. And President Bola Tinubu assures German businesses of providing an enabling environment for their investments in Nigeria. The federal government is asking the Supreme Court to grant an extension of time for old Naira notes to remain in circulation as legal tender. The government also wants the court to lift its March the 3rd order that the old Naira notes remain alongside with the new notes till December the 31st. It says this extension of time is necessary and it has not been able to print the volume of new notes that would enable it to phase out old currency before the December 31 order. In the fresh application by the Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, the federal government further explained that should the Supreme Court decline its request to extend the period of circulation of old notes, the country stands the risk of descending into another national economic and financial crisis as witnessed in the first quarter of the year when the Naira redesign policy was being implemented under the former central bank governor, Godwin Emefiele. It also pointed out that the economy may be in jeopardy once again because some Nigerians have started hoarding the old and new Naira notes ahead of the December 31st timeline. The Supreme Court has fixed November the 30th for hearing. And President Bola Tinubu is back in the country after his trip to Berlin, Germany, where he attended the G20 Compact with Africa conference. The president, who left Nigeria November the 18th, 2023, arrived at Abuja this evening. He was received on arrival by the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Nyesom Wike, the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, as well as his Chief of Staff, Femi Gbajabiamila, at the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport. The president had joined other heads of state and governments of CWA member countries on boosting investments. Speaking earlier at the 10th German-Nigerian Business Forum, the president assured German businesses that with Nigeria's stable political landscape, foreign investments into the country are secure. On the reforms he started on his first day in office, the president was clear he should be considered for mention in the Guinness Book of World Records.
If you add the fear of various orders, just look at me. I am from private sector, one of you. Trained by Deloitte, worked for Mobil, ExxonMobil, until I got to become the treasurer of the corporation. So define corporate governance, whichever way. I am in it. And from there, I have governed Lagos for 8 consecutive years. And today, I can brag, beat my chest, that Lagos is on the horizon. It is the fifth largest economy in Africa, from zero. Look, that's a track record that I can use to assure you. And that's the track record that got me into this office as the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nigeria voted for me for reforms. And from day one of my inauguration, I started the reform. Day one. To me, if you didn't mention me in the Guinness Book of Records, I will try to find a way to insert myself. Because I did it without expectation. My inaugural speech didn't disclose what I would do that day. I removed the fuel subsidy that is the greatest burden and pipeline to fraud and irregularities, a great burden to Nigerians from the moment I stepped into the office. There are other reforms. The arbitrage reading exchange rate is gone forever. Now you can bring your money in and out as you wish. Easy in, easy out.
Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu. We have more from the nation's capital. Mark Bogu Yusuf, it's over to you.
Thank you, Millicent. Well, we're off to the National Assembly now, where the House of Representatives is raising an alarm over the remitter platform through which a Treasury single account of the federal government is operated. The House, through a motion by Honorable Jeremiah Umaru, says trillions of naira have been passed through the remitter platform, and these monies are unaccounted for owing to the proliferation of sub-accounts by the CBN. Our National Assembly correspondent Terry Kumi reports.
Lawmakers in the lower chamber converge for the second plenary session of the week. The House receives a petition on compensation for host communities by oil companies.
I have a petition by Prince Martin Solomon Emefiele against Mobil Producing Nigeria Unlimited, which is a subsidiary of ExxonMobil Corporation, for non-payment of compensation of the victims of oil spillage in Andoni River State and Akwa Ibom State, respectively. Right Honourable Speaker, Mr. Solomon is only asking this House to intervene for him to get justice.
Honorable Jeremiah Umaru then draws the attention of Parliament to concerns surrounding the remitter platform of the federal government through which the Treasury single account is operated.
Aware that over 8.7 trillion naira had been processed through the platform before the deployment of the software. The Nigerian government had over 15,000 bank accounts operated by ministries, departments, and agencies. The proliferation of accounts has moved from deposit money banks to Central Bank of Nigeria, allowing MDs to create multiple sub-accounts, thereby negating the TSA policy of the federal government.
The Committee on Public Accounts is mandated to carry out an investigation and report back within 4 weeks. Next, the House considers a motion on the need to halt the increase in prices of cable TV subscription.
These unacceptable and arbitrary increments by the multi-choice Nigerians represented the second price hikes within the last 6 months, and the first one is 1st of May 2023, and the second one is 6th of November 2023, coming amid the prevailing economic hardship and crusading poverty in the country. Mr. Speaker, the House resolved that urge the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy to intervene, halt and reverse the increments in DSTV and GoTV tariff by the multi-choice groups.
The House further mandated Committee on Communications to interface with multi-choice group to address regiment increase in tariff. Terry Ikumi, Channels Television News.
Still to come on the news at 10, Nigeria's Senate joins the House of Representatives to pass the 2-year medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper ahead of the budget presentation by the President. Well, that's on business news. Do join us again. Welcome back to the news at 10. Over in the south-south region of the country, River State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has reaffirmed his commitment to improving the welfare of the people of the state, saying nothing would distract him from fulfilling his promise. The governor said that his agenda, like that of President Bola Tinubu, is to restore the people's hope in government. He said this when he commissioned 2 hospitals in Port Harcourt, where he also hailed the citizens for supporting his administration.
Away from reports of political conflict, Governor Siminalayi Fubara of River State is launching a new phase of project inaugurations in fulfillment of his promise to improve the welfare of the people. This 100-bed hospital in Diob area of Port Harcourt, named after a renowned obstetrician and gynecologist, Professor Kelsey Harrison, is one of the 2 health facilities earmarked for opening.
This hospital is a 100-bed secondary level facility. It is housed in a 3-story building with a support building and lush green lawns to create a serene and wellness-inspiring ambience. The hospital was designed as a secondary level facility to provide care for maternity, child health, adolescent health, and adult and geriatric healthcare services.
To maximize the efficiency of the equipment in the hospital, the Nigerian Medical Association pleads for the recruitment of more medical staff.
There will be a great manpower need. And for this hospital to hit the ground running, there must be an immediate employment. Because as far as I am concerned, I know the present manpower cannot be able to fit into these buildings. And we need immediate employment for the health sector to be able to man these hospitals effectively and efficiently to the glory of the people.
Governor Fubara acknowledges the need for increased manpower with a promise to find a lasting solution.
We are aware of the issue of manpower. And I know quite all right that we are going to resolve that issue. So you don't need to worry. By the special grace of God, in no distance time, we are going to constitute those commission and board, and the employment to resolve the issue of manpower will be taken care of.
Earlier, Governor Fubara inaugurated the upgraded dental, maxillofacial, ENT and ophthalmology hospital, an annex of the River State University Teaching Hospital, where he thanked citizens for their support.
I want to thank every one of you for your support. It's unmeasurable. I feel it even when I sleep. And it gives me extra energy. When I come out strong, because I have the people.
More projects are expected to be inaugurated in the coming days.
And that's all from our Abuja studios. It's back now to you, Millicent.
Thanks, Margaret. We continue here in Lagos, where the federal government has pledged to support Walter Smith Refinery and Petrochemical Company Limited to not only operate effectively, but expand its capacity to boost local production of petroleum products. This is the position of the Minister of State for Petroleum, Oil and the MD CEO of Bank of Industry, who were led on inspection of the company's modular refinery by the Executive Secretary of the Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board. Simbiwa Bote. The refinery in Ohaji-Egbema in Imo State currently refines 5,000 barrels of crude per day, with plans to expand to 40,000 in line with the vision of NCDMB.
The Minister of State for Petroleum, Oil, and the MD and CEO of Bank of Industry are among the federal government's delegation being led by the Executive Secretary, Nigeria Content Development and Monitoring Board, to the Walter Smith Modular Refinery in Ibigwe, Ohaji-Egbema local government area of Imo State. The visit forms part of efforts by the government to harness opportunities to scale up local production of petroleum products. After a boardroom discussion, the delegation goes on a tour of the different components of the facility, with the minister revealing his impression.
The shortest way to addressing our problems is, the modular refineries. And that was why I was told by the Executive Secretary of the Nigerian Content Development Board, Managing Board, who said, look, you need to visit the Walter Smith Refinery. And that is why I'm here today, to see things for myself. And I'm sure anybody who entered there will be very proud.
This was one of our first projects that we tried to catalyze, and it's been a success story. As you can see, we have produced almost 600 million liters of various products from this refinery. About 20 trucks leave the refinery on a daily basis.
Despite the success so far, the company says it is working on expanding the daily refining capacity to 40,000 barrels.
We're expanding the capacity. We're going from 5,000 to 10,000. For us, we're actually thinking ahead of this 10,000. We're thinking more around 40,000 because we have an ongoing engagement with the National Oil Company, and we are also canvassing the support of the minister to see that we conclude the engagement with the NNPP so we can get the feedstock that we require to take us to 40,000 barrels of oil per day refining capacity. That's our ultimate ambition.
The Bank of Industry is already keen on the company's next vision.
We are already in partnership with NCDMB. We're in partnership with Walter Smith. We are talks at a very advanced stage of a financing agreement to support the growth and the development of modular refineries in general, but specifically to Walter Smith.
The delegation also inspected a federal government skill and capacity building center in Omagwa in the Kweri local government area of Rivers State.
Zenith Bank PLC has held the third edition of the Zenith Tech Fair, tagged Future Forward 3.0 at the Eco Convention Centre, Eco Hotels and Suites in Victoria Island, Lagos. The two-day fair showcases leading technology innovations that cut across different aspects of life, such as artificial intelligence, contactless payments, cybersecurity, cloud computing, fintech, data analytics, financial intelligence, communication technologies. Take a look.
While the picture is being taken, we have some house.
It's a big lineup led by the chief host and founder of Zenith Bank PLC, Jim Ovia, and a room filled with young, vibrant and tech enthusiasts ready to take it all in. The group managing director of Zenith Bank PLC, Mr. Ebenezer Inyagu, opens the floor with the remarks touching on the evolution of banking sector and how Zenith Bank has always set the pace.
You are talking about robotics. You are talking about biotechnology. You are talking about mobile technology. So there need to be a sense of harmony wherever we are, that we'll be able to create a decent and very, very respectable and robust ecosystem for digital technology and digital interface to thrive in our country. That is why Zenith Bank is taking the initiative to ensure that this annual event continues.
The goodwill message by the Minister of Communication, Innovation and Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, borders on the efforts of the government in building a synergy and collaboration with the private sector.
Means the machines can think for us way much more than we can think. And that's what artificial intelligence is all about. If you want to explain it to a child, it's a bit scary, but it's simply saying you're teaching a machine to think like human. Don't be scared. There are ways in which we can manage it. But that's simply what AI is all about. You teach a machine to be able to think like human. And one key way of driving technical efficiency is the prioritization of innovation and technology. So it is not by accident that you have a Zenith Bank, which is a leading bank in the country, that takes technology extremely seriously. You know, the chairman is, in the startup world where I come from, we consider the chairman a member of our ecosystem because he's invested significantly in the startup ecosystem.
The keynote presentation, Artificial Intelligence, Application and Bias, is delivered by Chris Liu, a business strategist and managing director of Huawei Technologies Nigeria.
Personally, I believe with the right leadership, with a clear policy, we are able to have all the AI players coming from different pillars, and then together we can create much more value for different industries and verticals.
On the sideline, exhibitors line up different products and offerings for thousands of participants at the event. The fair also featured presentation on cybersecurity, cloud computing, fintech, data analytics, and the day two is expected to feature pitch sessions, innovative startups, panel discussions, masterclasses, and exhibitions.
He updates everything he does there.
Now time for business news. Here's Anne Wilder.
Thank you, Millicent. Hello and welcome to Business News. We begin with the Senate passing the 2024-2026 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper with a borrowing plan of 7.8 trillion naira for the year 2024, 9 trillion naira deficit, 16.9 trillion naira revenue, and total expenditure of 26 trillion naira. The President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio, announced the approval following the presentation of that report by Senate Joint Committee on Finance. The Senate also resolved that all items locally produced should be outrightly banned from importation. A total sum of 906.95 billion naira, that's the amount shared through the 3 tiers of government by the Federation Account Allocation Committee as monthly revenue from the Joint Federation account for the month of October. Let's talk about highlights of that latest disbursement. It shows the federal government received 323.35 billion naira. The state government got 307.71 billion naira. And for the local government councils, they received 225.2 billion naira. At the same time, the total sum of 50.67 billion naira was shared to the relevant states as 13% of mineral derivation revenue. Meanwhile, for the gross statutory revenue received from last month, this was lower than 1.014 billion naira, which was received in the month of September, as the figure dropped by 354.8 billion naira to 660.09 billion naira. And one of Nigeria's most resilient financial institutions, Wema Bank, has been assigned a $50 million credit facility by the ECOWAS Bank for investment and development. In a statement released today, the bank's managing director and CEO, Maruf Hussaini, says the revolutionary deal, which was sealed in Lomé, the capital of Togo, aligns with the EBID's strategy of impacting SMEs across the sub-region through partnerships with banks and reputable financial institutions that have a significant reach within West Africa. Mr. Hussaini explains that following the $50 million credit facility deal, Wema Bank is set to commit more funds to promoting agriculture and businesses owned and run by female entrepreneurs. Describing this partnership as long expected, the president and the chairman of the board of directors at ECOWAS, George Donkor, emphasized the importance of women empowerment and the need to continue to provide actors in the agricultural sector with resources to enhance produce and the value to the ecosystem and increase trade returns. While acknowledging Wema Bank's significant role in driving the Nigerian economy, Mr. Donko also highlighted the impact of the credit facility in driving sustainable development goals. With this facility now, Wema Bank says it will extend its already functional loan disbursement capacity to positively impact more Nigerians and business owners across the country. Let's head to the Nigeria stock market. It reversed the negative territory today, just one day after recording a mild recovery. Investors are still intensifying their sell pressure on some high-value stocks. Willie Bong has the details.
Thanks, and it's a game of yo-yo at the NGX today. The market bounced into negative territory, clinching a 0.09% loss. The market value declined by about 63 billion naira. MTN Nigeria, the big guy, pulled the market down today. Investors traded 11 million units of its shares today, mostly sell-offs, and this shaved off 1 naira 50 kobo off MTN. And that we also saw profit-taking in Dangote Sugar and Lafarge. Banking sector still maintaining the uptrend despite the 4% that was chucked out. FBN Holdings, it was up 0.19%, and oil and gas still in neutral position, even though there was some price action in O&O. Trading is neither here or there at the NGX. Tomorrow is, however, the penultimate session for the week. Let's see whether the bear can still strangle the bull. Will Ibang signing out.
Thanks a lot, Will. Now let's check out how other major markets closed today. Thank you for watching Business News Tonight. I'm Anne Nwawadu. It's back to you, Millicent.
Thank you, Anne. And Hamas says a 4-day pause in fighting it agreed with Israel will begin at 10 a.m. local time Thursday. That's tomorrow, the 22nd of November 2023. Here's Simon Pusey with other international stories and around the world in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Hamas says the 4-day pause in fighting in Gaza will begin at 10 a.m. on Thursday.
On behalf of the Israeli state and the Israeli people.
Israel has not yet commented on when the pause will begin, but Foreign Minister Eli Cohen said he expected the first hostages to be received tomorrow. Under the agreement, 50 Israeli hostages taken by Hamas will be released and 150 Palestinian women and teenagers held in Israeli jails will be freed. Families of those held in Gaza have said every captive needs to come home and that each hour is critical. Up to another 150 Palestinians could be released, as well as another 50 hostages from Gaza after the initial 4-day pause.
The truce will be significant for humanitarian aid because it will allow for a large number of humanitarian aid trucks and convoys to enter the Gaza Strip. But I must add that the number of humanitarian aid or the amount of that aid that's going to be allowed in is nowhere close to what was the regular, let's say, flow of humanitarian aid and other products to the Gaza Strip.
South Korea has suspended parts of its 2018 agreement with the North aimed at lowering military tensions. It comes after Pyongyang claimed to have successfully launched a spy satellite into space. North Korea's state media released still photographs of leader Kim Jong-un watching the first spy satellite launch. Some analysts have said these developments could escalate tensions further. The launch triggered Japan's J-alert warning system in the country's southwestern Okinawa prefecture late on Tuesday. The OpenAI co-founder Sam Altman will return as boss just days after he was fired by the board. The agreement in principle involves new board members being appointed. Mr. Altman's sacking on Friday astonished industry watchers and led to staff threatening mass resignations unless he was reinstated. I am looking forward to returning to OpenAI, Mr. Altman said in a post on X, formerly Twitter. He added, I love OpenAI and everything I've done over the past few days has been in service of keeping this team and its mission together. Last week, the board decided to remove Mr. Altman, which led to co-founder Greg Brockman's resignation, sending the Star artificial intelligence company into chaos. Drilling has resumed near the mouth of a tunnel in India's Uttarakhand state, where 41 workers have been trapped for 10 days. Work had been suspended on Friday after rescuers heard a cracking sound while drilling. Officials say other plans to rescue the men, including drilling down from the mountaintop, are also on track. The workers were building the tunnel when a part of it caved in on the 12th of November due to a landslide. The UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt has unveiled the government's tax and spending plans in the House of Commons. National insurance paid by employees has been cut from 12% to 10%, taking effect from the 6th of January. Labour says the tax cut will not remotely compensate for hikes already put in place. Universal credit and disability benefits will increase by 6.7% in line with September's inflation rate, but the economy is still forecast to grow slower than expected.
So today, Mr. Speaker, I'm going to cut the main 12% rate of employee national insurance. If I cut it by 1 percentage point to 11%, that would be an extra £225 in the pockets of the average worker every year. But instead, I'm going to go further and cut the main rate of employee national insurance by 2 percentage points from 12% to 10%.
And Britain's King Charles has presented K-pop band Blackpink with an honorary MBE in the presence of South Korean President Yoon Suk-yeol.
Miss Rosie.
The quartet, Jenny, Jisoo, Lisa and Rose, chatted, laughed and took photographs with the British monarch as he presented them with the award. The palace said the band's members received their honorary MBEs in recognition of the band's role as COP26 advocates for the COP26 summit in Glasgow in 2021. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the channel's studios in Lagos.
Thanks, Herman. Our top story is coming from Southern America, where it appears Argentina may be looking toward the future without World Cup winning manager Lionel Scaloni, as he is contemplating walking away from his position after his team achieved the rare feat of beating Brazil in Rio. Scaloni's shocking announcement about his term as coach came out of nowhere during his press conference at the Maracana after Argentina beat rivals 1-0 to stay top of the South American qualifying standings for the 2026 World Cup. Now, Paris 2024 Olympics organizers say around 400,000 tickets for the event will go on sale at the end of the month, where they hope to sell 10 million tickets for the Summer Games. Already, 7.2 million tickets have been sold, and organizers are also looking to sell 2.8 million tickets for the Paralympics. And same with the Olympics, Greece's Olympic rowing champion Stefanos Toukos will be the first torchbearer of the Paris 2024 Olympics relay after next year's lighting ceremony in the ancient Olympia. The Olympic flame will be lit in Greece's Olympia, birthplace of the ancient games, on April the 16th in a traditional ceremony with an actress playing a high priestess igniting the torch using a parabolic mirror and the sun, and will pass the flame to Toukos, who won gold in men's singles sculls at the Tokyo Games in 2021. In the NBA, it's another historic moment for LeBron James, who became the first player to score 39,000 points in the NBA as the LA Lakers beat Utah Jazz in the in-season tournament. Needing 5 points, he scored 17 in a 131-99 victory in Los Angeles and secured the quarterfinals place, further stretching a scoring record. And that's it on sports. I'm Jeffrey Uzama Millicent. It's back to you.
Thanks, Jeffrey. And the main news again. Protests erupted today in Kano over the release of the certified true copy of court judgment in the Kano governorship election appeal, just as the court cited typo error as being responsible for the discrepancies. We also told you that the Federal Capital Territory High Court has granted the immediate past governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, bail in the sum of 300 million naira with 2 sureties in like sum. That's the news at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Millicent Walker. Have a good night and stay safe.